Hey everybody, welcome back to the next video. I appreciate you guys coming back and watching my projects and seeing what's going on here. I just ran over and picked up, I had Oliver Phil rebuild the carb for the Jet 3 Super, the 66 there. I just went and picked it up. I'll put that on at some point today. This week the rear warning lights came in for the 950. I got those on last night. I got them wired up. Today I'm going to get the headlights and the rear work light. I could show you what. So I put the flashers on a pole switch there, and as I mentioned, I was going to put the that's supposed to be a red light there in the back, so I just put them all so that they all work together, and so that worked out. And now I just need to finish wiring everything up in there. My leak down here continues, and I'm thinking, because last night I was out here doing some stuff, that's maybe my pump. I got a leak in the pump someplace. I'm gonna work on that a little bit more today to try to track that down, but you can see where the floor's wet. And the 14 horse Kohler I painted last weekend, it's here. I might mess with it some today. I gotta pull off all the tape and everything that I taped it up with. And tomorrow we're going to go over to Eric's and work on the 1026 again, and hopefully get that running tomorrow. So what I'm going to do now, it's cold out. It was 1 degree this morning. I think we're up to 8. So I've had both heaters going on out here for quite a while, and it's still pretty chilly in here, but I'm going to start working on my wiring. I did get my rain cap on the muffler up there last night. That was one of the last things I did. And yeah, that's what this weekend's looking like for projects around here. I'm gonna work on this wiring, and when I get those headlights working, we'll see how that all looks. All right, so this wasn't near as bad as I thought it was going to be, because fortunately the original wire harness going to the back was still good. So as you can see down here, green is the headlights, purple is the rear flashers, blue is the field lights, and yellow is the little red light that's supposed to be inside of the field light for the back, the working light. So I traced them up here, although they're pretty faded. You can still see the colors, although I don't have yellow hooked to anything because I have that running with the field lights out of this switch going into the flasher, which had a nice little place to put it up here, and running back for the flashers. But everything else was color coded. These were for the instruments, but I'm gonna guess my bulbs aren't working on the instruments. But I just had to figure out what terminal went with what. So I knew the blue here is the field light, comes up and goes over here. This is my power coming in. My headlights go back to the back side there. So probably doesn't do me any good just pointing. If I turn on the key, and I did find a good old knob that is more original than, I don't like these that come with the light switches, but anyway. So first click, headlights, just headlights. Second click is supposed to be high headlights, but it's just headlights. And then third click, if you see on the wall back there, that's my field light. So got all my lights working there. And then if I pull on my other switch there, I've got warning flashers. So fixed up. I'm pretty happy about that. I need to clean everything up. I need to put some electric tape on some of these. I need to heat shrink some of my connections there, and then I can put this back together, and I should be pretty good on my wiring. So I'm pretty happy about that. I really want to take this thing out and drive it today, but it's cold. I mean, I'm not trying to be, but I do have the heat going in here, and if I shut down the heaters and open the door, then I've lost all the progress I've made on my heat. So maybe later. It's supposed to be, this is Ohio for you. Friday it's supposed to be like 49 degrees out. It was 1 degree this morning. I mean, that's Ohio. So I'm gonna clean this up, clean up all my tools. Probably next will be the carburetor on the Jetstar. All right, got everything buttoned back up on the 950. So I've moved over here to the Jet. I took off the side panel because I want to put a new fuel filter in since we just rebuilt the carb. Got thinking about it. It's been a while since I've done a fuel filter. This is how I do all my I take the sediment bowls off all the when I redo them, and I plumb in a ball valve. I just find it's easier to turn off and on the gas when I'm at different places, and I have not had any luck with sediment bowls. They all seem to leak. So this is my solution to that. So I'm going to we have a new fuel filter. I'm going to put that in. I'm going to have to see if I can find a gasket for the carburetor, because the kit didn't come with one. If not, I'm going to have to make one, and then put everything back together here and get this thing back running. All right, got everything plumbed back in. New fuel filter, tightened up my hose clamps, fuel line to carburetor, got my choke hooked up, put my air, that snorkel goes up to the air, got my new gasket in. I did have a new one on the shelf, glad I had that. Got my throttle linkage hooked up. So I'm going to open my ball valve, let my gas in, make sure I don't have any leaks, and so far so good. And yeah, let's go try to start this thing. So usually I got to give it a little bit of throttle. And I don't know if I'm going to need to give it choke or not today, because I got the heat going. Got the battery on the battery tender. I don't know why it's turning slow. Well, I let it run for a few minutes here, and I checked my adjustments on my two screws. Everything seems to be there. I got it running okay. I need to check. I'm going to pull spark plugs and just make sure that my spark is good, because it's just not running as smooth as this thing always has. So I'm going to put the side shield back on and let it cool down, work on some other things. And I'll come back and look at spark plugs, see what they look like. It's the only thing. I'm going to check that, and then probably have Oliver Phil come over, and we'll play with this a little bit more if it's in carburation. I don't know. Got to get him started. He's going to be starting his channel here soon, and like I said, he's a true mechanic, not like one playing one on YouTube like me. But anyway, he will, I think a lot of you will really like his channel when he gets it up and going. All right, I'm gonna put the side shield back on and see what else I can get into. All right, move the motor over here, pulled my tape off where I had tape on it. Decided I needed to do a little bit more painting. I had some heat shields over here, got a heater on them, heating up the metal and heating up my paint. So I'll rattle can those here after I give that stuff sufficient time to warm up. And I think the jet's cooled down, so I'm gonna pull some spark plugs and see how they look real quick. I'm gonna say the hardest thing about working on this tractor is the loader, because you got to work around it. It's kind of very inconveniently positioned to where you gotta, just no good way to do anything. My other thing on the jet, what I don't like on the jet, ooh, yeah, she could probably use some plugs. I'll take out a few more here and see how they look, but I'm just gonna go out on a limb, say she's pretty suited up. I'm not surprised. This thing has done a lot of work since I have really done anything mechanically to it. It's, like I said, the workhorse. I had a post pounder on it when I did some fencing. Moves all my snow. It kind of does everything around here. Yep, she's getting a set of plugs. That's two. There is an electronic ignition in this one. Yep, probably don't even need to keep saying it. I just need to go to the parts store. So I don't think I have a set of these on the shelf. But even then, this thing's running, and we're gonna have to tune the carburetor also, but she could use some plugs. Those are auto lights. Sometimes I've used Champions. Everybody's got a little opinion on plugs. I don't know that I have a strong opinion. As long as this thing fires, that's all I care about. But this is more my fault of I should have been checking those. I can't remember. Yeah, I rebuilt this one. Yeah, it had, I got it, the guy said it had a new top end in it, and when we pulled it apart, it was different pistons. I don't know what they were out of it. But we did rebuild this one, so but it's been a while. All right, well, I'm not going to bore you with this. You got to get plugs. All right, back over at Eric's. We're gonna keep working on this 1026 today. Last time, if you watched, we got the radiator in, airbox, fuel tank, kind of got it all in there. We were working on the wiring harness, which we will continue working on today. We've got it plumbed up to here. We need to get it hooked up, and then we got to continue working on the dash. But I think if we can get the wiring sorted out and going where it's supposed to go, then we for sure should have this thing running by a little bit later. That'd be our goal. So it's looking good. I think we're all excited to see how far we can get on this thing today and see if we can get it rolling. All All right, so we've been going through, getting some more of the wiring hooked up. We got the dash cluster out of the other side, put on this battery tray. When we were doing this before, we ran out of hose, so we just got the second hose run up for the hydraulic cooler, this battery tray on, and then we had took out this side of the cluster for electric. So this side was horn button, speed, some different stuff. And then over here on the bench, Phil and Joel are trying hard to figure out what goes to what. So they're
Look at that.
testing stuff, and then this is the other gauge cluster. So this has your PTO speed, your miles an hour, light switch, all that. So we got a new light switch here.
You guys are all right.
And yeah, so this is next. We have the new wire harness here to go in there.
It'll flip back.
So they're
It'll flip back.
bench testing that gauge cluster, and it looks like that's good. So slowly but surely getting through this wiring.
That gets power.
All right, it's been kind of slow going because it's just figuring all the wiring out and where everything goes, routing things, and then on the gauge clusters, we just got those back in. You can see up there, got the new light switch wired in. And then you got the push button in the middle. There is ether. This is your push button for your starter. And then on this side, got the new key switch in, and your fuel and all that gauges are over here. But it just still have a lot of wires that don't go to things, but we don't have the rear wire harness on, and we're just trying to figure out where everything goes. So as soon as we get more wires plugged in, I think we're going to be trying to start this thing. All right, we opened the bleed screws on the filters, got diesel in the filters, and Eric provided us with the largest jumper cables we've ever seen, because we're going to use the jumper cables to start this thing. I mean, if you guys have seen jumper cables this big before, I don't know. We're not playing around here. All right, we're going to give it a shot here in just a minute. I think Phil's doing some last minute checks. We are just turning it over a little bit to just check things without the fuel on.
Oh, no, one of these batteries. All right, we'll set it on there for a minute. I saw them cables even wiggle.
All right, we had a problem with the batteries we were using not being fully charged. So Eric just backed the semi in. We got jumper cables to the semi. We'll see if he can get it to crank using the batteries from the semi to bump this over. He's on the other side getting everything hooked up. Just fell off. Kind of what we've come down to is we had plenty of battery power. It's got to be in the starter. We could even see the big jumper cables jumping when he was hitting the starter button, and it would barely turn it over. You saw how much it was turning over. So We're gonna pull the starter off. Phil's gonna go through the starter. This is really disappointing because we wanted to get this running today, but we still got to get all the wiring harness figured out. They did not buy this wiring harness from where I get mine from, and I'm going to continue buying them from where I get from because I really like the way they label them and everything, and I'm not so impressed with this one, but that's just me. So unfortunately, this is not super success like we hoped for. So yeah, that's where we are. So turns out to get the starter out of this thing, you got to lift the whole gas tank up, which really upsets guys that have been here working all day, and that you realize that whoever engineered all of this from IH really, yeah, they weren't thinking about us. So we used the gantry, lifted it up. Oliver Phil's going to rebuild it or go through it, and then we'll be back. All right, after a frustrating day not getting Eric's tractor going, what the heck, get out the 950. It's the first time it's been out since we did all this work on it. This thing sounds good. It's got a deeper rumble to it now, but I'm going to take it for a little bit of a drive, just up and down the driveway. But figured I might as well end the day on a positive note. So here we go. Still cold, but she's running good. Steering seems good after I did the tie rods and did the front end. I think the muffler sounds good. This thing runs smooth as can be. So you watch that rain cap. It is smooth as can be. So I gotta get spark plugs for the Jetstar. I'll show you that tomorrow night, get it running smooth, and then see about getting that thing in the barn maybe next weekend and start messing with it a little bit more. Let's hope. And one last thing before I head inside, because it's cold. I always feel kind of bad. A little bit of an icicle going on the A4T, but I will said it'll be moving inside here, and I can get some work done on it, and maybe get it a little bit more ready for spring. All right, back out in the shop. Monday night stopped by Napa on the way home. Old plugs, new plugs. So hopefully that makes the jet run better. I'm gonna pop these in here real quick, and then we'll fire her up, and we will see if that solves the problem, which I got a really good idea it's gonna. Kind of my mistake for not checking this before and not maintaining this thing a little bit better, but it's kind of the workhorse. I think everybody's probably got a go-to tractor that, you know, gets used a lot more, and it's kind of the, I don't know, it's the workhorse. So sometimes other projects take precedence and you forget a little bit, and that's exactly what happened in this case. But I am going to make it a point to do a little better and take care of my little buddy here. It's also one of my favorites because it just works. This thing just, it's a good tractor, and the loader is much stronger than a 45 horse tractor you'd ever expect it to be. And you know, I can't say enough good things about the Jet. It has warmed up just slightly, which is kind of nice. Although we're supposed to have some ice in the morning, which I'm not looking forward to. But then it's supposed to be up very warm tomorrow afternoon, and then almost 50 by the end of the week. So crazy Ohio weather. All right, plugs back on. And this is where the loader frame is a pain. I'm gonna have to set the camera down because this is, it's just with this here, it's going over, it's going under, it's kind of a pain. We'll be right back. All right, plug wires back on. It's much easier with two hands. This tractor is what neighbor Carl calls his absolute favorite because, like I said, it always just works. And I know Nick Ohio MM was having a good time driving it when it ran out of gas, but then it started running a little funky. So, a little choke, a little fuel. Maybe a little less choke. I gotta remember, I gotta adjust the carb then. quick while that warms up a little bit more. Yeah, that's not a good sign. So in this part on the top of the pump, I had that all dried up. Now it's forced. So there's an O-ring in there. And that's probably where the bulk of my fluid down here is coming from. It's going to be coming out of that O-ring. So, dang it. And that's not an easy fix. But at least now I've got it narrowed down to that's where it's probably coming from. So, good news there. I'm gonna work my way through the jungle gym over here and just there. Bring it out. Another half. Probably live with that for now. All right, so I think that's going to be about it for this video. Sometimes I even make mistakes. So I probably should have checked plugs before I went right to carburetor, but I tell you what, carburetor probably needed to be gone through anyway from what Oliver Phil said. New fuel filter's never bad. New plugs is a good thing. It will get an oil change here coming up very soon. So don't neglect your workhorse. Learn from my mistakes. And like I said, pretty happy with how the 950 ran last night. Not real happy with the leak in the hydraulic pump there, but fixable. No big deal. And yeah, so again, I appreciate everybody watching, liking and subscribing. You know, Oliver Phil, I'm helping him get his channel set up. We're working on it. He's coming soon. I tell you what, he's a great mechanic. And he's very thorough in what he's doing. He's got a bunch of shorts on his channel right now. I think he's calling it Oliver Space Phil at YouTube. If you want to check him out, he's going to have full-length videos coming up, just a lot of shorts right now. And although he works on Olivers, he works on everything. So just so you know. And but I enjoy working with him and Eric. I enjoy working with everybody on these tractors. So it's just a fun hobby and it's a good thing. And I had another very stressful day at the real job today, and I just am happy to come home. and get the jet running nice. And just, I talked to Eric on the way home about his 1026 project, and that's what kind of rights the ship. My wife, you know, what is it? God, family, then country, right? And my, you know, keep those in perspective. And then I put tractors up there kind of close to the top to also help keep me sane. Not that I live my life around them, although some people think I do. So anyway, again, thanks for watching. And next video will probably be next weekend. We get out here and we get things shuffled around, and I'm going to see if we can squeeze the A4T back into this corner, kind of. The quad's going to have to move. A bunch of stuff's going to have to move around in here. We're going to shift stuff around, bring it in so I can fit it in, and then we can start having some fun picking away at the little things on it and getting it in a lot better shape for warmer weather. So I'll see you around next weekend, and we'll keep working on these things. And this thing's going to get a bath hopefully in the next night or so when it's above freezing, because it's killing me how much salt's on this thing. You gotta love winter in Ohio.